On the 1st of January 1999, the euro was introduced, and the exchange rates of 11 national currencies were irrevocably fixed against it. Greece joined later. Britain, Sweden and Denmark did not join. 3 years later, euro coins and notes were introduced and, more importantly, 12 national currencies were destroyed. For those countries now using the euro, economic and monetary union is complete, their economies subject to control from the European Central Bank. An example of what this means was graphically described in 2000 by Kenneth Clark, speaking at an investment conference in Jersey, when he said, "Your problem is that you cannot control your economy and the inflation rate when you have no control over interest rates. In fact, your situation is just like Ireland and other smaller nations in the Eurozone." I'd better not say any more. The European Central Bank, or ECB, is situated in Frankfurt. The executive board of the bank consists of a president, vice president, and 4 other members, each with 1 vote. The powers of the European Central Bank include, first, setting the limits on interest rates, growth and inflation across the Eurozone in a one-size-fits-all policy. Those limits are defined in the Stability and Growth Pact. Second, exclusive rights to authorize the issuing of banknotes and coins. Third, holding and managing the official foreign reserves of the Eurozone countries. The priority of the ECB is to deliver price stability. This means pursuing policies to control inflation irrespective of the economic needs or wishes of individual member states, even if it destroys jobs. The 6 members of the ECB are political appointees and hold office for between 4 and 8 years. They are not elected by, nor are they accountable to, the EU electorates nor their governments. Article 107 of the Maastricht Treaty dictates that the ECB must not take instructions from or be influenced by the governments of member states or their central banks. The European Central Bank decides on its own targets and does not publish these figures or its deliberations for 16 years, as its proceedings, quote, "shall be confidential," close quote. That is the system that will govern Britain economically if we decide to abandon the pound sterling. So do single currencies work? There have been numerous attempts to introduce single currencies, including these. All failed. Argentina is now virtually bankrupt because it tied its currency to the US dollar, and there appears to be a knock-on effect with neighbouring Uruguay. The 2 previous attempts by the EU to lock currencies together both failed, the ERM in spectacular and costly fashion. Once sovereign states experience economic problems that affect the well-being of their peoples, the temptation to throw over a single currency becomes overwhelming, and eventually that's what happens. But the 12 nations already in the euro have no such easy escape route. They have abandoned their national currencies, handed over their reserves to the ECB, and no longer control interest and exchange rates. In effect, they can do nothing, even if the one-size-fits-all policy of the European Central Bank is causing financial hardship or destroying jobs. As Romano Prodi, the president of the EU Commission, said of EMU in January 2002, "There is no escape hatch for countries wanting to leave EMU, even if they subsequently found that it was not compatible with their economies. It's a definite marriage. You cannot leave the Eurozone once you're in." After 3 years, the 12 nations in the Eurozone are experiencing the same old familiar problems long associated with a single currency. Unemployment, taxes and inflation are all higher in the zone than in the UK, whilst outside the Eurozone, Britain enjoys higher levels of foreign inward investment, economic growth and international export success. Let's look at just 3 of the individual problems now surfacing across Euroland. First, Germany is in deep recession and wants interest rates cut. Ireland, on the other hand, wants higher interest rates in order to dampen down inflation. Under the one-size-fits-all policy, the European Central Bank cannot possibly set a rate that will satisfy both. The same problem, to a greater or lesser extent, applies to all 12 of the Eurozone countries. Secondly, in July 2002, Portugal became the first country in the Eurozone to begin losing control of its own budget after it failed to comply with the Stability and Growth Pact. The Portuguese people now face long-term austere economic measures directly supervised from Brussels. Finally, and ironically, the Stability and Growth Pact, designed to hold the single currency together by controlling money supply and government spending, is being weakened. Germany, France and Italy all intimated in July 2002 that they would challenge the strict guidelines of the pact as they struggle to comply with its limits. The credibility and future of the pact is now in serious question, and with it, the continued existence of the euro.
The euro is the official currency for more than 315 million people in 15 EU countries. Travel between countries using the euro is now much easier because the cost and inconvenience of changing money has disappeared. Using the euro also means that you can compare prices directly in all the countries that use it. Thanks to EU rules, withdrawing euros from a cash dispenser or paying with a credit card won't cost you any more in other EU countries than it will in your own.